So free kick for Stranraer, 60th minute. Ecrepont chips it in.
Oh!
Top
Finn Ecrepont!
What a finish!
Finn
Ecrepont doubles his goal tally for the day. Gives Stranraer a 3-1 lead on the hour mark. Brian Martin.
I said, Lawrence, it was in a great position for him for that left foot of his, and he absolutely barred it in.
What a free kick by Finn.
Back-to-back away wins, 1 defeat in 6 games. Welcome to Luke Blues Talking. Tonight I'm joined by Brian Martin and George Frank. We look back at victory over Edinburgh City. We look forward to a Scottish Cup clash with Glenafton Athletic, and we hear from double goal scorer Finn Ecrepont. Before we get to the goals, Brian, a deserved 3 points on Saturday?
Yeah, I think so, Carmen. Even though Michael McIndoe, the City manager, thought they deserved to win the game. It was a good performance. Obviously, 2 goals in the first 13 or 14 minutes settles the team down, makes them play, that much better. I think, more confidence right away. They get the goal back. But I think, all in all, it was a deserved 3 points.
Well, what about yourself, George? Putting the victory aside, what did you make of the performance?
I thought we were excellent, and it was just really reassuring to see us race into a 2-goal lead, which we haven't seen for quite some time. A good start, and I think having that to build on. We defended well. Edinburgh obviously came back into it and pulled one back, but I thought we saw the game out well, and even aside from Finn's free kick, I think we probably would have gone on to secure the 3 points. So yeah, all happy campers, I think, on Saturday.
Sticking with yourself, George, I appreciate that 3 points are 3 points, whether it's against East Kilbride, Elgin, Edinburgh City. But psychologically speaking, do you think this was our most important win of the season so far?
I think so, and like you say, the importance of it, the team that we were beating, giving us that kind of 8-point gap to Edinburgh City. But as well, the fact that we'd won at Dumbarton a few games ago, we really seem to have struck a bit of a vein of form, finding a bit of momentum. And I think that's possibly the most important thing, is that we were stringing the performances together before. Now we've got a couple of results and they know what they can do. And just hopefully we can kick on from here.
What about yourself, Brian? Would you go along with that in terms of not just the importance of 3 points, but the opposition that we got it against?
Yeah, I think they were in the social media pages, saying, "Oh, it's us, we'll be 2 points behind Stranraer come Saturday night," but it didn't work out that way. And I think George is right. I think, when you look at the games this season away from home, granted we're poor against Forfar, but we're pretty good against East Kilbride. If Corey O'Donnell had his shooting boots on, we'd probably maybe win the game. Stirling, we should definitely get a point at least in that game, if not 3. And then Dumbarton, and then Edinburgh on Saturday. I think it's quite hard to come on to Facebook if people are criticising the team because of the home performances, because it has been pretty poor at home. Okay, the Annan game was a bit of lottery in my mind. Spartans were down to 10 men after half an hour. So that was 2 games which, didn't fall in our hands. But the other 3, one of the greatest games you've ever seen Stranraer playing. So, the criticism comes from the home fans not seeing it. Great shows that stay apart. But the away fans, quite a lot of them go to a lot of the games, they'll tell you our performance away from home have been okay in general and pretty good at times. So, I wasn't surprised with the result. I know it's okay in hindsight, but I wasn't surprised at the result on Saturday, because I thought we had a better chance against them.
I guess in terms of statistics as well, obviously people can manipulate them how they want. In terms of the win at Dumbarton was our first of the season in the league. And then equally, as I said at the start there, 1 defeat in 6 games, George, all of a sudden things look a lot rosier.
And I think sometimes they can be manipulated depending on what happens the following week. Like a draw always looks better if you follow it with a win. Yeah, it's looking a lot rosier, and I think in many ways it's a little bit of a disappointment that we've got a cup game coming up, because it would be good to keep that momentum going and get some league points on the board, because that's ultimately the position we're in, that we're no one will be happy that we're sitting on 8 points, regardless of the fact that we've won a couple of league games. We're still second bottom, and Edinburgh City are only behind because of that points deduction. So we need to get going, and we've made a start. But yeah, let's hope we can climb from there.
I'll ask yourselves if you kind of agree with my thinking here, but in terms of the first goal, it seems to be kind of the perfect example of how the goal that has come for that team, the manager thinks it's a brilliant goal. The opposition thinks it's a dreadful goal from a defensive point of view. From a Stranraer point of view, Edinburgh City have a throw-in. Danny McManus wins a loose ball. He plays it to Finn. Lewis Reed back to Josh. We get it up the park. Ryan Edgar gets the ball, lays it off to Finn. Goal. As I say, we've gone from one end of the park to the other. We've got possession back. From an Edinburgh City point of view, though, you've got a throw-in the Stranraer half. You lose possession of the ball. It gets thumped up the park. You don't win the kind of loose ball. Ryan Edgar's standing on the edge of the box. When Ryan gets the ball, I think Finn is pretty much on the halfway line.
Mm-hmm.
So Ryan kind of holds the ball up, and then Finn, he basically loses his marker. It's like Finn Ecrepont in the cloak of invisibility. Like the defender just doesn't go with him at all, and then he's in the box and puts it away. As I say, from a defensive point of view, it's a horrible goal to concede. But from Stranraer point of view, from the attacking point of view, a well-worked goal that involved a lot of the team, George.
Yeah, it was. I was kind of watching it back, and I noticed. I think it was Robbie Mahan lost Finn Ecrepont at the goal. I thought Ryan Edgar is some of the best forward play I think we've seen from Ryan. Just flipping it on its head. Again, I think it's really encouraging from our point of view. Like you say, probably disappointing from their point of view. I couldn't care less. It's us one up within 5 minutes. Obviously, Edinburgh's was the haunt of J.K. Rowling over the years. I think if she's looking for inspiration for a book, Finn Ecrepont and the Cloak of Invisibility might be it.
What about yourself, Brian? Would you go along with that?
Yeah, I mean, you look back in the goal, and Ryan seems to be standing in the ball for about 4 or 5 seconds. Edinburgh City never moved towards him, and Ryan is actually waiting for somebody. Like, come on, somebody move, and I'll thread it through to you. And if I was an Edinburgh City supporter, I'd be furious at Robbie, man. As you say, Carman, he lost it. He lost. I mean, he's bound to see Finn coming, and he lost. He lost him completely. And it was so easy for. Well, it was his right foot, right enough. So maybe it wasn't so easy for him, but he just stroked it home, and it was quite. It was a very poor goal to lose by Edinburgh City, but it was quite good play by Stranraer. It was good hold up play by Ryan.
We've said at times this season as well that there's been games where we've got our noses in front, and we've either not managed to kick on and get a second goal, or we've found ourselves quickly on the back foot. How important was the second goal, George?
Yeah, hugely important, and I think it really took away any opportunity for McIndoe to bring his team back into the game at all. Probably the better finish of the two for me. Rifles it into the bottom corner. We had 2 shots blocked before that, and Edinburgh again. You could probably say that they should have cleared their lines, but it's a great start, and we've raced into a 2-goal lead and a deserved 2-goal lead. I didn't think Edinburgh really troubled us beyond little kind of half chances leading up to that. And yeah, despite what their manager said after the game, I thought we were well deserving of the two-goal lead early on.
Think as well, looking at it, and I think you mentioned it in commentary, Brian, that Edinburgh City obviously appeal for something. I think where the camera is, it's difficult to see if Ryan is offside, but you hear kind of managers saying about these things balance each other out. Ryan was on the wrong end of an offside call against Queen of the South not too long ago when it looked very tight. Maybe gets the benefit of the doubt this time.
Yeah, it's hard to tell by a replay if it must have been marginal if he was off. But I mean, that second goal, it's all about Aaron Quigg. He headed the ball. He kept the ball alive. He was being shepherded by 2 Man Mountains. They had both, I think it's their centre backs, and he managed. I've seen about this boy's ability to header before. He got up above, I think it was MacArthur and maybe the other centre back, and he got up above them, and he put it back into the mixer. So that's where the goal came from. probably, I mean, any other midfield player, might not win that ball, but Aaron is so good in the air. And I've just noticed again on Saturday, nearly every ball that he went for in the air, he won. There's definitely something. He's got something about him where he spring, where we can get up the head of the ball and it goes back into the danger area, of course, and we scored. Nice finish with Danny McManus, which gives him a wee bit of confidence as well. So I 2-0 to. I mean, they always say it's a dangerous score, but I was glad to see it going in, and pretty surprised about Edinburgh's uh, lineup. To be honest, George was talking here about Edinburgh. They played Stokes through the middle, which I didn't understand at all. I don't know whether Jack Duncan wasn't fit, but he played against us at Stair Park as their number 9, and they played Stokes through the middle, which I thought, but that's their problem. I was quite happy to see him through the middle, but I mean, when you call him Reed and Roughwood, would love that. They'll take him all day long. But the second goal was a nice cushion, Cameron.
Just when you're saying about Aaron Quigg there, and my apologies, Aaron, if I'm doing you a total disservice here, but I've not noticed him being overly tall. He just does have a good kind of spring when it comes to getting up for a header.
I think I think with a kind of not an argument, but we're discussing this and we're chatting. I think is he 5'11"? Am I right in saying he's 5'11"?
He's
I
certainly
could
not
be
like
wrong.
a 6'6" giant or
Oh,
anything.
but he just seems to. I mean, I just notice him, and he seems to win every header that's going in the middle of that park. I think that's so vital at times to the team. And since he's come back in to the team, I know. I don't know what I can't. Did he play against Shannon? I can't remember, Cameron. No, I don't think he did he?
Don't
No, I
think he
think
did.
he came back in against Queens.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So I mean, I think he's so vital. Again, he's another one I would play all day long. I think he's so vital to the team.
He's maybe gone to the Craig Ross School of Vertical Leap,
Yeah.
um, or he's been watching Bob Beamon tapes or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, he's got some jump on him.
In terms of the game, obviously we've said we went 2-0 up. Edinburgh City got a goal back through this loss. And was there ever a time, I'll come to you, George, first of all, was there ever a time that you felt the game was kind of starting to slip away from Stranraer, or despite it going 2-1, did you still feel kind of reasonably comfortable?
I'd say probably not. I think there's probably just I would say it was paranoia and a little bit once bitten, twice shy going on. I said to the boys, it's you know, they score a goal and pull one back, and you're just thinking, oh no, please not. Um, but I thought we were comfortable throughout. I thought we dominated, and I think the highlights reflect that in terms of chances. Edinburgh City had a few kind of half chances or headers over, um, the kind of stuff that wouldn't trouble our backline or Josh. Um, and yeah, just really encouraging against a good side. And I think it's important to note as well that City obviously um, they'd rested some of their key men, Lawson and I'm trying to think who else was it, Stokes as well,
Jarvis. Yeah.
Jarvis. In the preceding weeks, I'd imagine with a view to them playing in this, which is a quite an important game for them. And whether they weren't up to speed, I don't know. But Edinburgh City were clearly had some kind of fitness issues, so maybe they weren't at full strength. But that aside, I thought we did everything we had to do on the day, and just a top performance from us.
What about yourself, Brian? Were you a nervous man at 2-1, or did you always have complete, total faith in Stranraer?
Well, you're always quite nervous, 2-1, but Snarf really started well in the second half. We started on the front foot and never really let Edinburgh back into it. They kind of huffed and puffed. I can't even remember Josh Lane having any great saves in the second half. First half, he had two or three really good saves. Second half, I can't remember. I think there was one in the middle of the half he had a save, but apart from that, we got the pressure. And I mean, really, I've seen in he said in Facebook, it could have been 6 or 7 for us really if we took our chances. And once that goal went in for Finn, I was always confident we'd see it out, and get the 3 points.
Sticking with you, Brian, I think would be fair to say you enjoyed Finn's second goal.
Oh yes, brilliant. And I said to you, Lawrence, I think you probably heard me in the commentary. This is absolutely set up for Finn. And he's got a wicked left foot in him. Just recently, you've noticed it. See, even his free kicks and corners, he puts them right into the danger area. And it causes havoc quite a lot of times. And Saturday was no different. Some of the free kicks, he tried one in the first half, decent past the keeper, Mark Weir's. Was it our right hand, his left hand post was just inches wide. He tried that in the first half, absolutely spot on in the second half. And yeah, it's always good to see it. I mean, I think somebody say the new Wally Gibson. Well, let's hope he is, but with them type of free kicks. But he's got a lovely delivery on him at times.
Obviously, we all love seeing the highlights, George, but there was a picture, a still image that I think it was from an Edinburgh City photographer had taken of it that kind of shows the ball kind of basically curving away from Mark Weir. Those kind of pictures, they just become kind of things that are just printed in your memory, I guess, for goals like that.
Yeah, I think we've probably all got images for various goals over the years, and like you say, they're kind of burned into your memory. Finn, I think he's been due probably scoring a few more. He's been closer a couple of times. I think he scored against Irvine Meadow with a free kick in pre-season as well. It's worth noting that he scores the first, he scores the third, but he also sends the free kick in for the second. So there wasn't much that he didn't do on Saturday, and he looked a happy man at full time and well deserving of his place in the team of the week as well. So well done to him.
In terms of kind of just pure strikes, George, where does the free kick kind of rank for you in terms of Stranraer goals?
I think for me it's the pace of it. It only seems to have left his boot a millisecond and it's in the back of the net, and it was just unstoppable. So yeah, it's certainly up there. And I think the importance of it in terms of getting our season up and running, you can't underestimate that. So yeah, want to talk about for years to come.
Alas, for all the positives, there inevitably had to be some downsides. Brian, how big a blow is it potentially losing Jordan Stewart and Sal, not just in terms of for them personally, but obviously the fact that we've been able to name an unchanged team?
In the past 2 or 3 weeks, they became two big players. Jordan, I don't think will be too bad. He hobbled. I noticed he was injured and he hobbled off, but I think looking at him, hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll not be too bad. Maybe a week, 2 weeks. Sal could be a different case. Definitely looked at hamstring. I don't know whether it was or not, but the way he pulled up, and he was very distressed, the boy, and it really looked a bad one. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, he's so good at getting you up the park, with the ball, and it'll be a miss, but it gives other players a chance.
Obviously, we've spoken about Finn Ecrepont. Lawrence managed to speak to him after the game, so let's hear what Finn had to say.
Finn, I was being harsh on you there. I was saying to the manager we get 2 goals from an unlikely source, but 2 goals from your good self, your first 2 goals of the season, and first one was fine. That would have done me. But my God, what about the second one?
I know, I don't score many, do I? That must be about a season and a half since I scored one. But no, just glad to have played my part in the win today. We knew that today was a really, really big game, and obviously scoring a couple of goals is good, but like I said, the win's the most important thing. Yeah,
today was a big one, just given the fact that we need to get off and run and get some wins, and also the league table. You don't want to be coming away from here this afternoon having lost to the team below you.
100%. Like you don't want to be playing in games that are meant to be this magnitude so early on in the season, but at the same time we've came out on the right side of it, and that's us now. We're in the second quarter, and we didn't pick up enough points in the first quarter, so we need to make up for that now, and today's a good start.
You're obviously a defender, or you push forward, but the manager says he's been challenging you to score more goals. You've responded today.
Yeah, well, the manager wasn't happy that I didn't score last week at Cumnock South for my free kick, so I told him I'd get one today, and I did. But no, I mean, look, I'm always trying to make myself better, and the gaffer's always challenging us to add to our games, whether for me it's getting up the pitch and putting more crosses in, or it's midfielders trying to get goals and contribute as well. So no, he's challenging us all, and we've got to rise to it. So I think today everyone to a man was incredible.
You've got a big squad obviously this season. Has that been a bit of a frustration for you as well as other players, not getting as much game time as you would like?
I mean, of course, like no matter what squad's picked, there's always going to be someone that's unhappy. There's only 11 players that can play on the pitch, and there's always going to be players that are coming off the bench that will play their part as well. But no, look, I'm just happy that I played today and I felt I played well, and that's all that matters.
And the free kick, when you stepped up to that, had you pretty much picked out where in the net you wanted to put that?
Well, I was having an argument with James Dolan before it. He was telling me to go the keeper's side. He said the wall was too big. I went against it and scored, so I did the right thing.
You can hear the celebrations in the dressing room behind us. I take it it's a happy dressing room after that one.
No, it is. It's a happy dressing room, but we're not daft. We know that's one game. We've got a big game against Glenafton in the Scottish Cup next week. We've got to take each game as it comes. We can't just get ahead of ourselves and go, brilliant, we've got a good result against Edinburgh City. We need to go ahead, win next week, and then we need to win again.
Aye. And in terms of the Scottish Cup, you'll be well aware from last season we came up against a couple of lower league clubs in the pyramid and they gave us problems.
I mean, let's not be kidded. We got away with one at 3 last year. We didn't start well enough and obviously didn't get put out by Broxburn, which this year we've got to put that right. Okay, we haven't started the league great, today different, but in the Cup so far we've been good and we've got to carry that on.
Just before we move on from Saturday, 3 kind of little things I just wanted to pick up on. Kirk McKnight's reaction at the third goal. I think he's possibly just as astonished as Brian Martin, to be quite honest. You can see him, I think it's actually on the thumbnail for the highlights as well. He's standing with his hands on his head behind everyone celebrating. Kirk again, when there's the kind of scuffle right before full time, and you see him coming across, almost kind of waving at his teammates to just calm down. It's 3-1 up, there's seconds left, don't do anything stupid. And then similarly at full time, and I think it's Jordan Stewart and Kirk this time, in the nicest possible way, bully Finn into going across to celebrating with the fans. And I think it's those little things, George, that we might not win every week, we might not win every second week at times, but that connection between the fans and the players, and that there's obviously a genuine want to do well.
I think the Kirk hand on the heads thing was him mimicking Finn doing it for James Dolan's goal a couple of weeks previously. But yeah, I mean, you see that kind of stuff, and you're like, yeah, these guys all clearly get along well. Yeah, Kirk pushing Finn towards the away fans to take the adulation, a lovely moment. And I think Kirk, just while you mentioned Kirk, I think he's done really well since coming in. Mm-hmm. Obviously, right back wouldn't be his first choice of position, but yeah, he's certainly adapted really well, and obviously he's played there before, but holding it down at the moment. So fair play to him.
And I don't think it would be too long ago, Brian, that fans, the way that we are, you start looking ahead to January, that Kirk would have potentially been one of those names that you fancied might have been on his way out.
He wasn't getting a game earlier on this season, but fair play to Tiff. He gave him a chance. I think he played in a Challenge Cup game and got his chance, and he's took it with both hands. And he's played really well. I thought on Saturday he'd be up against Stokes. I was as I said, a bit surprised. Stokes wasn't on the left hand side, but McKnight played really well, and Finn played well against Robbie Mann as well. He didn't first half, he did 2 or 3 wee things, but all in all, Finn kept Mann very, very quiet.
Yep, fair play, and fingers crossed Kirk and the rest of them keep performing the way that they are. Scottish Cup, Brian, there were plenty of kind of good things last season when the new manager came in. The Threave game will live long in the memory, but perhaps that was one where we kind of used up the last of our 9 lives, because the next game against Broxburn was possibly one of the low points of the season. Yeah,
well, I think no, I can't say too much about that. Probably a goalkeeping error. Let them in for the win, but I'm sure Tiff will have the boys well revved up for this one. It's that they're saying banana skin, but I'm quite sure Tiff and the backroom staff will have the boys on the go from the first minute to the 90 minutes, because you can't take any of these teams, you know, they're all decent teams, and we just can't take them lightly.
Would you go along with that? For my memory of the day, George, we weren't particularly good, and then
No.
Elliot Dunlop got the equaliser, and you kind of fancied, right, let's kick on and get the win, but obviously it never happened.
Mhm.
No, I've wiped my memory of any recollection of that completely. Um, it was, yeah, one of these where you like fair play to them for, getting the result. I thought we were really, on top of Broxburn for great swathes of the game, and then just again didn't get it over the line and got punished. And probably one of the worst teams that we've ever faced in the Scottish Cup, let alone been defeated by. No offense to anyone who's a Broxburn fan out there. But, yeah, we never should have lost that game, and hopefully that's a memory for the members of the squad that were playing in that anything can happen. And I don't think Glenafton is an anything can happen fixture either. I think they're more than capable. They've got a number of players with SPFL experience and a great deal of experience at their level, doing very well in the West of Scotland League. They're up in fifth. So yeah, not a team we can underestimate. A team that's going to compete with us physically, and will be up for this as their, to use a cliche, their cup final down at Stair Park. So hopefully we match that intensity and we get it over the line.
You mentioned there, George, in terms of the result from last season and hopefully kind of sticking in the memories of the players. How many out of the 18 that played against Broxburn do you think are still in the Stranraer squad?
Don't know, but I'm sure you can tell me.
There won't be many anyway. I don't
No,
think.
no,
I'll
out
go
of
for
the. On you go,
sorry.
Brian.
I'll go for four.
It's close. It's five. It's five.
Oh,
From the match day squad last season, Pazikas, Robertson, Cummins, Ross, Gallagher, Hawkshaw, Grant, Guthrie, McQueen, Brindley, Dunlop, Adam, and the sub keeper that day was John Gibson. So 13 of the 18 no longer at the club. Leaves Finn, Mark Russell, Darren Lang, Kirk McKnight, and Ryan Edgar. On that note, Brian, do you think, given the turnover of the squad, which whether you think it was necessary or not, given the turnover, do you think that we as fans perhaps should have been more patient in terms of for the everything to kind of knit together, to gel together?
no, I think Tiff wanted a clean slate. I think he wanted his own team in there. He kept the players he wanted, and just said, cheerio to the players he didn't want. He'd been there from October to the May. He knew what he had in his squad. I mean, I don't know, maybe a couple turned them down. I don't know to stay, but I think Tiff wanted rid of me, as I say, most of his squad. This is my team, this is the team I want to. I mean, we heard rumours in February and March. He was already, out and about, scouting for players. So we knew there was going to be a big turnover. And I think, I mean, that was one of the criticisms in social media last season. They kept too many players for the previous season who'd been, down at the bottom of the league. You couldn't make that accusation this season, as you say, Carmi. He's brought in a lot of players, and it's now Tiff's team. And he'll was it live or die by the sword? Is that the saying? Yeah.
You mentioned there, George, in terms of Glenafton sitting fifth in the top flight of the West of Scotland Football League. 4 wins from their 7 league games, obviously other wins in the cup to get to where they are. They're obviously a team that's got into that winning habit.
They are, and it's not an easy league either. They've got I think they're just behind Hurlford, and we've seen what kind of side Hurlford is when we've played them in pre-season. Um, all those teams at the top of that league are physical, strong, capable sides, and on their day they can certainly give us a scare at the very least. There's also players that have, likes of Chris Erskine, who has been there and done everything in the SPFL. I think he's 38 now,
Mhm.
but yeah, a great person, a great personality to have in the dressing room going into a tie like this. Callum Wilson, ex Dumbarton and Albion Rovers. Again, capable of changing the game on his day. So there's plenty of guys who will be looking to show the SPFL team what they're made of, and hopefully we can, as I say, match that intensity and put the tie to bed.
When George said Callum Wilson, I thought West Ham had sold Callum Wilson. Of course, it's another Callum Wilson, isn't it?
I don't fancy us against him, to be fair, but
Could he do it on a cold Saturday at Stair Park? That is the question.
many haven't.
I mean, on that subject, Tammy, about what George was saying, I was looking at Glenafton's stats. Since getting beat 7 by Auchinleck on the 6th September, they've not played a West of Scotland game in the league. They've won their last 6, but not one of them has been in the West of Scotland League. And they've beat giants such as Yoker 5-0, Bridgedon 4-1, Invergordon 3-2, Kilbarney 3-2, Newton Stewart 1-0, and Bankside Juniors 1-0, and they've played in 4 separate cup competitions. So they've only played 7 games in the West of Scotland, and they've played cup games, but they're on an unbeaten run of 6 games. So this will be their 7th game trying to win in the trot. But I think Stranraer might be a bit stiffer opposition than some of the teams that they beat.
Obviously, they're coming just by the by default of kind of where they are in the pyramid compared to us. They're coming down as underdogs. Been plenty of occasions where Stranraer have been the underdogs going up against a higher opposition, and obviously there's been plenty of occasions where we're the so-called bookies' favourites. Is Saturday, Brian, all about kind of making sure we prepare in the right way, no complacency, professionalism, and that should be enough to get us through?
As to say, appreciate 100%. I mean, you've got to start with the hot tap on. You can't start with a cold tap on and try and run it through the hot. You've got to start well, get right into them right away. Make them show them who's a League Two side, and if we start in the right order, we should win the game. I mean, don't make two bones about it. We should win the game and quite comfortable. But we've got to start on the right foot. We cannot start, as I say, with the cold tap. Start right away, and I'm quite sure we'll be comfortable enough.
With that in mind, Brian, obviously it goes without saying, I would love to go down there on Saturday and Stranraer post a cricket score and get through in comfortable fashion. But equally, is the most important thing at the end of the day, whether it's 1-0, whether it's 9-0, Stranraer in the hat for the next round.
Oh yes, absolutely. Because I mean, look at last season. Bowness managed to, was it Broxburn? Broxburn managed to beat us by a goal, and I think it was 2. But it was after extra time, wasn't it?
Yep.
So I mean, they get through, and that's at the end of the story. It doesn't matter whether you win by 1 or 9, as you say. It's a cup game, but I'd like to see us chip in a few goals and give the players some confidence, especially the 2 boys up top. I'm quite sure with Sal being injured, it'll be Ryan and Darren. I'm almost certain he'll play with the 2 up top. I don't see why not. And if they can rattle in a few goals between them, more the merrier.
I think somebody had said to me this week, George, in terms of just on that nobody remembers how you got through. I think they had said nobody remembers how you got through by the time the draw's made. So again, is it all important, George, that we get through, whether it's by hook or by crook?
Yeah, as Brian says, 100%. I think we've got a team full of ex West of Scotland League players as well who know what Glenafton will bring to the table. And like I say, they're going to bring it. And it doesn't matter how we beat them, but we just need to beat them. And I think the one thing I would say is that, as we've touched upon earlier, people who've bought a season ticket for Stair Park probably haven't seen a lot to get them excited about. And it's not a season ticket game this weekend, but hopefully those that are coming out, the home fans, will have something to cheer, and I think that's what they deserve. And yeah, like I say, it's been hard times at home earlier in the season. We just need to really get going now.
You mentioned some of the players in the Glenafton squad, George. One name that might kind of stand out to Stranraer fans, Michael Mullen. Obviously had a loan spell at the club a couple of seasons ago. You look at his numbers, both this season and overall. I think it's this season it's 16 goals in 14 games. Overall, 40 goals in 50 games. Forget the standard of football, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. He's clearly somebody that's going to come knowing where the goals are, and it's going to be full of confidence.
I think what you see there is someone who will take a chance if it comes to him. What I would say is we need to ensure that he doesn't get that chance, because we know that he can tuck it away if it comes. And admittedly, we probably didn't see the best of him when he was at Stranraer, but he was just a young lad making his way in the game. Released from Kilmarnock, and I think he scored up at Elgin, and that was the one for him. But yeah, these players, admittedly, it's a couple of steps down, but to score 40 goals in 50 games, you have to have something about you, and we'll have to watch him, and they will have a threat.
I think, Brian, kind of touching on that when he came to the club, Stranraer, the morale, kind of the general direction of the club wasn't as kind of optimistic, wasn't as feel good as it is now. It's obviously it's difficult coming into a club, particularly as a young player. He's somebody that's maybe taken a couple of steps back, but he's absolutely banging in the goals where he is now.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of players do the same, don't they? They step in 2 or 3 leagues, and start scoring and hopefully get back up the leagues. I don't know whether, I mean, I hope I'm not talking too early, but I don't know whether Michael will play against 2 centre backs like Rough and Reid doing in the west of Scotland very often, right? Because they've stopped most of the big scorers scoring this season. But he's got to be watched. There's no doubt about it. If you can score 40 in 50 games, he's got to be watched. But I was going to say, Cammy, the guy who also plays up top for Glenafton, if Cosmo's watching this, I don't know whether he can remember or not. A guy called Hugh Kerr, or Shug as he's called in the dressing room. Sean Niven watched him for Stranraer in 2019. He played with Lanark, and Sean actually quite liked the boy, but we didn't sign him. And I think he went to Pollock, and now I see he's at Glenafton. But he was quite a fair player. He's now 35, right enough, so he's getting on in years. But he might be another one to watch. He was always quite a fair player in the junior leagues, and that's what I think it'll be Mullen, and him up top.
I don't know how many of them will actually play, Brian, but we mentioned Scott Ruff, for example. There are players in the Stranraer squad who've got experience of playing in the West of Scotland League, have probably got experience of playing against Glenafton. How much of a factor do you think that could be in terms of kind of steering Stranraer in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely play. I mean, he's not got many options, but I think he'll definitely play his 4 at the back. He could go Gillis at the back. We know Gillis is okay to playing on Saturday, so he could go Gillis, put him to right back again, and put Captain Knight in front of the back 4. He could put Captain Knight in right back position and play Gillis, which I think he did on Saturday. I think that's the way he went after Jordan Stewart went off. I think he put Gillis, sitting in front of that back 4. Any would be fine for me, And you'd think you'd hate to play, the team that's won his last, well, he won the last game, should I say, 4. I think it was 4-1-3-2. That looks to be his formation, and you'd think he would go with that again, unless he goes 4-4-2. But I'm quite sure he'll play the 2 boys up front, Darren and Ryan. And as I say, with Sal being out, what does it say? One man's poison's another man's medicine. So what a chance for them, to stake their claim in the team and score a few goals and go forward from here. The 2 of them up top.
I was going to ask you, Brian, what you thought the team would be. Do you think it will be kind of strongest team available? Would it be stupid? Would it be tempting fate to go and make changes, and then that banana skin becomes a reality?
You'd hate to think he'll play a side that started against, apart obviously the two guys who are not available. You'd have to think he'll play yeah, and those 9 plus Darren and Gillis coming in, I would think, because they've got confidence. And I mean, if they put the game to bed, which I hope they do, quite early on, maybe first half, you can bring the more experienced players. I mean, you've got Russell probably on the bench again. Bring him on the second half. I think Plant's available as well. Hearts aren't stopping him, so maybe George can confirm that. Hearts aren't stopping him from playing, so we've got that option as well. So I would think he'll go with a 4-1-3-2, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, we've been in touch with Hearts and Hamilton Accies, and all the lone players can play on Saturday, so all good on that front. I think looking at the team lineup, it's good that Gillis has managed to get a run in what I believe is his preferred position, that kind of holding midfield
Right.
role. And yeah, I can't see anything other than strongest team possible. And then, like Brian says, hopefully later in the game, bringing on a sub and each one's knocking in a goal.
So there you have it, folks. Out to Stair Park on Saturday. Hopefully the first and not the last stop on the road to Hampden for Stranraer.